Good morning and welcome to the 2021 Gold Level presentation for Years 9 and 10. My name is Mia Jago, and together with my fellow school captain, Dylan Hickey, and vice captains Helen Jakudu and Ruxing Lin, we will be hosting today's presentation. With the current COVID restrictions, we regret that families are not able to join us for this special ceremony today, and we would like to express appreciation for their ongoing support and care. As this is a formal occasion, we request that applause be at the conclusion of each presentation. I would now like to welcome Harrison King to deliver the Acknowledgement of Country.
Good morning, students, teachers and members of our community. My name is Harrison King and I'm a proud Woonora man. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Djarawar and Gibel people. I would also like to take a moment to pay my respects to the elders from the past, the present and the emerging into the future, for they hold the memories, the traditions and knowledge of Indigenous culture. As the Acknowledgement of Country has been performed from different areas or in different words or phrases, it will ensure safety upon those who enter different areas and communities where we are stationed thousands of years ago. This tradition promotes the inclusion of Indigenous people, which recognises and respects them as the first custodians of this land.
Thank you, Harrison. We would like to extend a special welcome to Mr. Fraser Border, our guest speaker, Miss Mary Ann Walsh, Executive Principal, Heads of Year 9, Mrs. Chris Bartlett, Mr. Matt Russell, and Mr. Andrew Rowell, Heads of Year 10, Miss Emma Castles, Mrs. Emma Usher, and Mr. Dave McMillan, and staff of Centenary Heights. I would like to offer a special welcome to you, the Gold Level students of 2021. This is your special day. In being here today, you have demonstrated your capacity as a person and learner to respect the rights of others, reflect a positive attitude, and demonstrate cooperative behaviour. Your consistent efforts and willingness to provide help to others has not gone unnoticed, and it is wonderful that we can recognise your efforts in a special ceremony such as today. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our guest speaker, Mr. Fraser Border. Fraser is a former Centenary Heights student who, as a local robotics engineer and agricultural researcher, is passionate about technology. With a particular interest in innovating in agriculture, Fraser has worked to solve complex problems of many ag tech giants such as John Deere, Caterpillar and JBS Foods. He particularly enjoys working within a global startup investigating means of automating the incredibly difficult domain of red meat processing, and is developing a solution to a problem worth $90 million to Australia each year. Recently, Fraser was awarded Australia's Science and Innovation Award for Young People in Agriculture. Fraser is also the founder of Integrated STEM, a Toowoomba-based STEM education startup dedicated to empowering students with the perspective of transforming a passion into a profession through technology and entrepreneurship. In this presentation, Fraser will reflect upon his time at Centenary and provide insight from his career journey to aid students in paving their own path in education and career development. Please welcome Fraser.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to start with a quote first off. And this quote is, "People will hardly remember what you say, but will always remember how you make them feel." Now, I want to start with that quote today because I think it phrases what I'm going to talk about this next few minutes with you, but also something that I've realised is actually quite a truth that can really excel where you end up through your profession and your, I suppose, professional lives. So being in, I suppose, this cohort with Gold Level, I figured instead of talking about myself for 4 minutes, which I could do, being someone who come from a really small school out in the middle of Whoop Whoop, which is Westbrook down with Bunkers Hill. I think I had a class of about 100 kids in the whole school, kind of ending up going through to Centenary Heights and to where I've ended up. So instead of talking about that, I really want to talk something specific to you guys because this presentation is more about you than it is about me. Now, I will be talking about something quite technical. It won't be to do with robotics, but it will be something I'm extremely passionate about, which is technology, and in specific, artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of you guys are probably sitting there thinking, why are we going to talk about artificial intelligence on a gold level ceremony? And I'll get to that point very soon. I suppose I just wanted to talk a little bit about it in the phrase where it'll actually come back to where I started. So a little bit about artificial intelligence. So AI is something that we as engineers can use to solve some really complicated problems. Problems that really don't have a single analytical solution or something that is easy. For example, AI has been used to look at the causes of cancer and a few other things that really have so many factors that it's quite hard for a human to think about. So we use these algorithms to try and figure out some quite complex things. So one of the most kind of commonly known algorithms is called a neural network. And it's based on how we think as humans. So how our brains actually function, how the neurons fire through the pathways in our brains is very complex. And that's exactly how neural nets work. Now I want to give an example. Hopefully, so very quickly, I wanted to use an example, and this is going to really make sense in a few moments. For those of you thinking, why are we thinking about AI right now? I just want to kind of implore that maybe hands up who actually has watched Netflix. Awesome. We do all do the same thing, watching Netflix to waste time. You've probably encountered an AI algorithm when you've sat there to watch one episode, you've got recommended another series to watch, and you end up wasting 6 hours of the day watching Netflix because there's a recommendation. That's the power and probably, I suppose, the evilness of AI. Now, this particular neural net here is just doing quite a simple thing. It's looking at how to recognize a hand-drawn symbol. Now, that symbol is a 7, and obviously us as humans, that's quite easy to look at. But for computers and robots, that's a very hard thing to do. Now, the way this neural net works is you've got, for this particular one, 784 nodes. Now, each node is assessing that symbol in different ways, and it's quite a complex thing. As I said, us as humans don't even understand the brain. The AI developers or engineers that develop these codes don't even understand the code that they've written most of the time. So it's looking at different things. And so when those nodes flash white, it's found a relationship it's looking for. So the first series, the first column on the left, none of those nodes have any idea what they're looking at. The second series, which it goes to next, because those nodes talk to each other in different complex relationships, those white flashing nodes have some idea of what they're looking at. Those then pass messages to the next nodes, and that kind of sequence goes on until you eventually get an algorithm that can guess what it's looking at. Now, that's essentially how neural nets work. Now, why are we talking about AI? Well, really, we're not talking about AI at all. This is not a technical problem. This isn't an engineering application. These networks exist for you guys today, and they're your networks that you actually have socially, the people that you know and the value that you can derive from having that network. So instead of thinking about this as an engineering problem, this is exactly how you guys can use this tool to solve lots of complex scenarios or problems that you'll have in your own lives. And this is probably the number one tip I would say, is to see the value in your own networks. For example, let's say you're trying to resolve how to handle a bully, or you're trying to plan your path in your career journey. That's not a simple thing you can just dream up and have a solution like that. And really what I implore you to do is to think about who you know and how they could help you. For example, let's say you wanted to become a lawyer and you're in year 10, year 9 right now, and you've got so many options, so many different paths you could take that it's such a complex way to plan that from this point on. And let's say the first group of nodes on the column are your friends. Maybe none of your friends have an idea of how you could become a lawyer or if you want to become a lawyer. But maybe those friends have parents, who's your next set of nodes, because those nodes have connections to these ones. So as you go through this cycle, I want you to think just how valuable your networks are, because that's how you're actually going to find out if you want to become a lawyer, whether it's a friend's brother's cousin who's a lawyer that you can go talk to and figure out all this stuff. And so I suppose with that, I just want to say the next question you should be asking is, how do you develop your networks? And this is where it comes down to that I've already given you the answer. People will hardly remember what you say, but will always remember how you make them feel. Again, we're talking about kindness and the fact that you can simply organically make these networks that will give you so much value in the future just by being kind to people, because they'll remember how you made them feel. And it's as simple as figuring out that your networks have such a value, and instead of Googling how to be the best networker, which will tell you to wear a certain bow tie or to dress a certain way or to speak a certain pattern, it all comes down to, if you're just kind to people, these things will grow, and the value you'll get from that is immense. So from this speech, I hope you remember, for your own career's sake, how your networks can serve you, but most importantly, how you guys can serve your own networks. Thank you.
Thank you, Fraser, for your inspirational words and for giving up your valuable time today to attend our gold level ceremony. We would like to present you with a small gift as a token of our appreciation, so if you'd make your way back upstage, thank you. It is now time to meet our Year 10 gold level students. To introduce the students to us are the Year 10 pastoral care teachers, and awarding the certificates will be the Year 10 heads of year. Please welcome to the stage heads of Year 10 and Fraser Border. I would ask you to hold your applause until the end of the presentation for each pastoral care group. Please welcome Ms. Rong Zhang to the stage to present 10A gold level recipients.
Good morning, staff and students. The gold level recipients for 10A are Hadia Adi, Sama Ahmed, Isaac Apalash, Georgie Brown, Bella Douglas, Hada Edo, Chloe Glasgow, Olivia Lynch, Abigail Redfern, Jacob Sykes, and Hannah Wall. Now, everyone, please join me in congratulating the 10A gold level recipients. Now, I would like to call on Mrs. Carrie Jacoby to introduce the students of 10B.
The gold level recipients for 10B are Surikshana Acharya, Yasser Al-Khazraji, Marwa Al-Rashid, Alex Bailey, Thomas Fawcett, Harshal Mahida, Manal Muhammad Ishaq, Aidan Ninnis, Chelsea Rolfe, Rion Saul, Olivia Skirman, Marshall Stelmaker. Please join me in congratulating the 10B gold level recipients. I would now like to call on Mr. Mitch Cush to introduce the students of 10C.
The gold level recipients for 10C are Ghazi Ali, Josiah Fine, Eliza Kelly, Alexander Clyden, Elizabeth Liu. Samuel Mullen. Carrie Q. Lillian Russell. Jenna Salem. And Matthew Warfield. Please join me in congratulating the 10C Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Mrs. Naomi Zeech to introduce the students of 10D.
The gold level recipients for 10D are Daniel Chesini, Hamish Connell, Riley Dunn, Hope Hallowell, Caitlin Hornsey, Jaden Myers, Tavisha Silva, AJ Tenson, and Hasty Williams. Please join me in congratulating the 10D Gold Level recipients. The Gold Level recipients for 10E are Emily Box, Bethany Callow, Annika Kinder, Jack Lyon, Ewan Milliken, Raymond Roberts, and Logan Stratton. Please join me in congratulating the 10E Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Miss Coco Boo to introduce the students of 10F.
The gold level recipients for 10F are Pat Batum, Dakota Dolan, Carly Loveday, Moraine, Terry Myers, Zoe Sylvester, Ben Stockler, Lockie Uran, Please join me in congratulating the 10F Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Mr. Brett Tebbett to introduce the students from 10G.
The gold level recipients for 10G are Emerson Benton, Tracy Bradford, Evie Handley, Nicholas Hartick, Sophie Luong, Nadell Richter, Bo Robinson, and Aaron Shy. Please join me in congratulating the 10G gold level recipients. I'd like to call on Mrs. Tiff Beck to introduce the students of 10H.
The gold level recipients for 10H are Asha Chung, Yuran Dasanaike, Sophie Elliott, Taryn Ezold, Imogen Lutby, Sitar Nazari, Ella Sloan, Tristian von Sunten, and Dickens Wu. Please join me in congratulating the 10H gold level recipients. I would like to call on Mrs. Libby Nan to introduce students of 10I.
The gold level recipients for 10I are Raja Ali, Delray George, Niall Glenn, Harrison King, Marnie Maxwell, Angel Moore, Yasmin Pettit-Behill, Lucy Rigby, Caitlin Robertson, Riley Scott, Hannah Waterhouse, Jacinta Winkler. Please join me in congratulating the 10I gold level recipients. I would like to call on Miss Marie Canavan to introduce the students of 10J.
The gold level recipients for 10J are Mustajab Bashir, Nathan Bissett, Yaya Fisher, Chloe Holland, Billy Manning, Mia Natalia, Alexander Snowderwin, Corey Stark Biddle, Charlotte Winand, Connor Williams, Bronson Wood, Kayla Wynn. Please join me in congratulating the 10J Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Mr. Paul O'Connell to introduce the students of 10K.
The gold level recipients for 10K are William Ban, Dylan de Blasio, Byron Dittman, Will Elson, Emma Hawes, Mujtaba Hussain, Jackson Jones, Tamsin Judd, Rani McIntosh, Dominic Miller, and Eden Rasmussen. Please join me in congratulating the 10K Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Ms. Kim Crowan to introduce the students of 10L.
The gold level recipients for 10L are Denelli Abawikarama, Ethan Andrews, Lucy Cook, Harrison Cowley, Piper Harmon, Gemma Maurice, Karina O'Reilly, and Zahara Sauja. Please join me in congratulating the 10L Gold Level recipients. I would now like to call on Mrs. Heidi Law to introduce the students of 10M.
The gold level recipients for 10M are Bella Berry, Harriet Cluett, Kaya Daly, Joshua David, Marley Dawson, Isabel Edwards, Hallie Franson, Samuel Fewelling, Laura Hallett, Thomas Keane, Hayley Lutfi, Brianna Martin, Cassandra Mattick, Isabel Payne, Samuel Richards, Verity Russell, Caitlin Schmidt, Evelyn Smith, Gabrielle Thompson, Livru Waniarachi, and Jessica Young. Please join me in congratulating the 10M Gold Level recipients.
I ask you all to join me in congratulating our Year 10 Gold recipients for 2021.
To introduce the Year 9 Gold Level students are the Year 9 Pastoral Care teachers, and awarding the certificates will be our heads of Year 9. Please welcome to the stage the heads of Year 9. Once again, I would ask you to hold your applause until the end of the presentation for each group. Please welcome Ms. Geordie Scott to the stage to present the 9A Gold Level recipients.
The Gold Level recipients for 9A are Salam Ali, Sophie Brennan, Nico Kyenga, Sophie Daly, Mazen Isa, Millie Evans, Emily Jackson, Lachlan Plath, and Alexander Van Claveren. Please join me in congratulating the 9A Gold Level recipients. I would like to introduce the students of 9B. The Gold Level recipients for 9B are Taisha Afifi, Rajaha Al-Qadur, Hayley Fraser, Olivia King, Roween Kumasinga, Tyler Murphy, Hilary Ong, Tina Sue Danielson, Zach Reimers, and Eliza Zahra. Please join me in congratulating the 9B Gold Level recipients.
The Gold Level recipients for 9C are Kalenzo Buerta, Harry Chisini, Harrison Kojon, Charlie Jennings, Hannah Kapanek, Chloe May, Alyssa McCurley-Alt, Holly Tickner, Ruby Vero, Charlotte Woodfield, please join me in congratulating the 9C Gold Level recipients. I'd like to now call on Miss Marilyn Love to introduce the students of 9D.
The Gold Level recipients for 9D are Seth Boland, Lincoln Brown, Paige Evans, Ava Fletcher, Talia Hess, Mia Roberts, Cody Walker, Jade Webster, Sam Wilson, please join me in congratulating the 9D Gold Level recipients. I would like to call on Mrs. Hayley Harmon to introduce the students of 9E.
The Gold Level recipients for 9E are Natalie Burrow, Sienna Dixon, Cody Flack, Jai Gibbs, Mitchell Hattie, Samantha Hosking, Caitlin Loveday, Elizabeth Seeds, Talia Taylor, Amber Travers, Amara Weir, Noah Whitehouse, and Heath Wilkins. Please join me in congratulating the 9E gold level recipients. I'd like to call on Mrs. Carly Sherstock to introduce the students of 9F.
The gold level recipients for 9F are Cheyenne Bishop-Wallen, Laura Fry, Blake Gardner, Rocky Griggs, Shane Jackson, Tanya Jimmy, Sylvia Lay, Alia Magzab Colvin, Blake Walker, and Evangeline Wembry. Please join me in congratulating the gold level recipients from 9F. I would like to call on Mrs. Louise Wilson to introduce the students of 9G.
The gold level recipients for 9G are Ruben Baisley, Shiloh Bissett, Bo Bradshaw, Laura Brereton, Sarah Chandran, Jessie Englert, Shakira Flanagan, Hayden Manning, Michaela Mayers, Charlotte McBride, Natalie McBride, Sienna Mundy, Emma Schmidt, and Marion Yendog. Please join me in celebrating the 9G gold level recipients. I would like to call on Mrs. Kathleen Morris to introduce the students of 9H.
The gold level recipients for 9H are Joel Anderson, Emily Chow, Abigail Collins, Wagisha Dodumfala, Holly Fickling, Jack Gillum. Sarah Harrison. Jordan Heading. Christina Hinkfuss. Xavier Martel. Nisha Onok. Elise Rees. Noah Schmidt. Dominic Sora. Jonathan Wright. Please join me in congratulating the 9H Gold Level students. I would like to call on Mr. Mike Clements to introduce the students for 9I, sorry.
The gold level recipients for 9I are Jade Gasky, Jessica Kim, Chong Lau, Paige Lonergan, Gunur Singh Soni, and Liam Wilson. Please join me in congratulating the 9I Gold Level recipients. I call on Mr. Drew Copeland to introduce the students of 9J.
The gold level recipients for 9J are Rose Craig, Nicholas Ladilli, Lincoln Peroz, Zachary Rasmussen, Daniel Skillington, Bailey Sykes, Georgia Turner, and Ella Wolski. Please join me in congratulating the 9J Gold Level recipients. I'd like to now call on Mrs. Chrissy Parker to introduce the students of 9K.
Good morning. The gold level recipients for 9K are Annalise Brower, Kiara Crank, Taj Gordon, Bo Harvey, Chloe Ives, Bailey Lang, Bryce Maloney, Scott Morgan, Sophia Parva, Tennessee Stanton, Amber Van Gryson, Thomas West, please join me in congratulating the 9K gold level recipients.
Most times when we celebrate, there is a special cake to cut and share. I now have the pleasure in inviting to the front of the stage to cut the cake our Year 10 Student Council representatives, Kaya Daly and Kayla Wynn, and Taisha Afifi and Michaela Mays, our Year 9 Student Council representatives.
It was great to see so many students recognised here today. It is hoped that these students will continue on in their current path of exceptional performance for the remainder of the year and into the future. This day would not have been possible without the organisational skills of the following people: our heads of year for Year 9, Miss Chris Bartlett, Mr. Matt Russell, and Mr. Andrew Worrell. For Year 10, Miss Emma Castles, Miss Emma Usher, and Mr. Dave McMillan. Our assistant heads of year for Year 9, Miss Anna Donald, and for Year 10, Mr. Chris Cuthill. Please make a round of applause. A very big thank you must also go to Miss Sharon Mathewson for the photographs, Miss Juanita Brown Duthie for preparing the letters, program and gold level certificates, and our janitor, Mr. Cole French, who has enabled us to carry out proceedings today through his tireless efforts in preparing the facilities. Please make a round of applause. Now, we would like to invite students to move to the hall to enjoy a piece of cake and pizza. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.